Hello, I'm Krupali. A warm welcome to you all to my channel. In this video, Kasturi Raorane will share her journey as a researcher and athlete. Yeah, she is an athlete also specializing in hurdling. She is currently a Ph.D. researcher in molecular engineering and joint physiopathology laboratory at University of Lorraine, Nancy, France. So let's listen her. Hello everyone, I am Kasturi Raorane. I am a PhD student studying at University of Lorraine in France. And I come from in Mumbai in India. I am studying molecular biology, and in molecular biology we have molecules like DNA, RNA, and proteins. So, for example, DNA is a molecule that codes your genetic information, and there is a translating molecule, which is the RNA. So RNA is like a translator between the DNA, which codes your genetic information, to making a functional molecule, which is a protein. And if there is some different changes in this RNA molecule, it leads to a default protein, which can lead to diseases like, for example, cancer or Alzheimer's. So what I am studying is what are the changes in the RNA molecule that can lead to different proteins which lead to this disease condition. So what got me interested in science at first place was uh, before I had done a project in molecular biology in my 7th grade, I suppose, and then I was like, okay, I want to try do something different. I did not want to become a doctor or an engineer, but I want to become a scientist. And that's somewhere where the dream started to grow. Uh, and in molecular biology, the idea of what excited me was looking through a microscope and looking at the things or organisms which existed around us, but we did not see them, and it was something magical for me. But then when I talked to more like to one of my not seniors, but a person who was then studying molecular biology at I think master's level, and she explained to me about her job and what she's doing. That time I did not really enjoy so much. So this is one of the advice which I would like to give young people who are further looking into such fields, that try talking to people who have already there in the field and try to understand what the job is like. You can do this by either just talking to the people, or trying some small internships, which can really tell you how the day-to-day life of the profession is, and you get an idea, and I think you make more informed decision with such things. So continuing with the story, then I came to 10th grade with kind of confusion, that of course I like to look at things which do not appear to normal, like you do not see normally, but it's either through microscope or something like that. The idea was still fascinating. In 10th grade, I came across Mendelian genetics, where Mendel was this guy who made experiments in a pea plant, and he studied genetics through it. He said that there were some information that is passing from generation to generation in this plant, that says what color the flowers is of, or so that was another idea which struck me, like, how does your nose know that it has to function like that, or how your eyes know it has to look a certain way, or the hair grow in a certain place, like so it is this all fascinated me, and that's when I decided that this is what I want to do. I want to study molecular biology or genetics. With that, I went further, taking science in my high school, uh, and uh, and then I was still trying to look for people who were then studying molecular biology at PhD level. So in my family, I had an amazing opportunity to meet a PhD student from Stanford University who suggested me that I should read more papers about what is molecular biology and all. And the more I read, the more I was fascinated by the subject. And then another dream, I had another this thought that I want to travel the world. I want to study, of course, but I also want to see what is beyond my I think my city, what lies there. So first, my rebellious expedition started when I was 18. After high school, I moved out to Bangalore to study, to get my degree, and I thought that it was a good chance to do a triple majors degree in biochemistry, biotechnology, and genetics. So all these subjects together gave me a broader perspective from I think industrial point of view to the to very like food industries and everything. It had even drugs, chemistry, and all those things. We had this in our subjects, and this broad perspective gave me a further like insight that I would like to study more into the molecular and research level topics of biology. And I studied molecular genetics further in southernmost part of India, in the state of Tamil Nadu. I chose to study masters in molecular genetics in Shastra University with that. When I was studying that, another aim was to travel abroad. So in the second year of my master's, I had this opportunity of semester abroad program. But at that same time, I did not wanted to, I want to go on my own. Like I wanted to be more independent than rather than asking money from my parents. Of course, they were very supportive about every decision I made, and yeah. So with that, I in with this like in by applying in for semester abroad program, I got opportunity to interview for a lab in Norway, and here they had an option that I could have a scholarship for 6 months while I was doing internship, which was a great for me as I wanted to do this on my own. And well, that paved a way for my next part of where I traveled from southernmost part, almost near to the equator, to near to the poles. When I first went from the equator to the poles, it was a difference. Like in the equators, there was like 50 degrees Celsius, and in the poles, it was more like minus 20 degrees or so. So first major challenge was surviving this extreme weather. Next, the people, for me, it was very nice because they are most of them are introverts, and for me it's like I would not categorize myself as extreme introvert, but yes, I'm not the first person to go out and say hello, it's me. So in this way, it is nice for me. Norwegians, they believe like they do not like wasting time of others, so it's not mainly like just say hi and go. but it's more like hi, and you have something more to say, and that's why you said hi in the first place. So you talk more, unless you are friends with them, of course. uh, and in a way it was nice for me as well. So yeah, in Norway I had really good friends, which helped me a lot. And in fact I have one of the closest host family, I would say, uh, which are very close to me. So that was nice. I think Norwegians are nice, you should try it. Going to Norway. Next was the experience in lab. Uh, so my I had one group leader who was also from India, so he was very like helping to me to understand how things work, and since everything was new, the country was new, so it was nice to have his guidance. And uh, and I also had like the main group of the group leader, sorry, the head of the group, the whole group, and he's Norwegian. And one of the good like one of the most striking thing for me was that he was he himself is a student of one of the Nobel laureates, Thomas Lindahl, in biology, and this was a great opportunity to talk to one of his students. So and this guy who is also a pioneer in my field of study, he was I thought he would be more like upfront, like tight, and with the schedule, and talking only about science, but it wasn't that way. It was more like he was whenever I had conversations with him, I remember he would talk like max 10 minutes science, and the other time he would either talk about his skiing trips, uh, or his motorbikes and cars, which he was very fond of. And another thing, like one time I remember in specific, I was working in lab, and he just came to me, said hi, and he saw my picture on Facebook, and my picture on Facebook is me doing hurdles. So as like another part of me, my identity is that I am an athlete. And he came to me and told me that there is somebody else who does hurdles, and I was like, in our lab, and I was like, who? And he was like, oh, it's me, I used to do 400 hurdles. And I'm like, wow. And this guy's just talking casually to me. So that was like, wow. Great scientists are also interested in other activities like sports, or I don't know, outdoors. Yeah, so you can always have in a hobby or passion to do some like, of course science would be a passion if you are choosing this career, but it's always nice to connect to the nature. And so with this I completed my master's thesis, and I defended it in in August 2019. And after that I had like I wanted to like I continued working in the same lab as a research assistant, and this gave me more purpose as to why I wanted to do PhD in first place. So it was mainly that I loved working in labs so much that and I loved and I wanted to own my own, like, of course you own the work, but as a research assistant it's more like uh, your PI or your leader will tell you what to do. But as a PhD student, you have to know, like, learn what you have to do next. And this was something which pushed me to start applying for PhD. I always knew that I wanted to do one, but I did not find a right purpose, and I think this gave me a right reason to start PhD. Uh, and with this, I started applying to a lot of places. One particular thing here is like for PhD applications, you have to apply for many places, and you have to have that motivation to keep on going. So I started applying in November, and the first like call back came from Oxford University, which was like which was a big thing for me, and from one of my most favorite lab. Uh, one of my most favorite scientists, I would say. Uh, and we talked, like she asked me why I wanted to join her lab and all those interview questions, and the interview felt so much like I could speak up, just open my heart and say why I loved research so much, and why I wanted to work. So I think you need to genuinely feel that you want to really do science if you want to do it. So yeah, just that intuition would guide you. The inner voice would guide you through this. Yeah. So, but I did not successfully like get through the Oxford procedure, and that kind of demotivated me for a while. And in February, my tenure for research assistantship got terminated. So I could, and then I got an opportunity to continue working on my project for another 1 or 2 months. But I thought that I wanted to go back to India and get some, more motivation. And have some family time. So I went back home, and there was this major pandemic which broke, which has changed our life certainly in some or the other way, and so did mine. And this time I thought I would go back to Norway, but it did not happen so, and I continued applying for PhD positions. Uh, in this time, all I was getting was rejections. All were like, sorry, your letter is nice, but we do not have positions, or we do not have enough fundings, or something like that, which really put me down, until I came across two positions which replied back to me. One was from University of Lorraine, and another one was in Poland, and I think actually three, and another one was from University in Scotland. France has always been my dream, so I I took up this opportunity at University of Lorraine. But also another thing was the project which got me interested into starting a PhD at University of Lorraine. So yeah, in October I joined in as a PhD student at the university. We were still in middle of pandemic then, and figuring out things in general were quite challenging for me, at least, because the system had slowed down. So applying, like I had my visa, but my visa had expired, and to get a resident permit took way longer than expected. So that was one thing. Opening bank accounts and small stuffs which make your life easier were then difficult, but somehow Maison du Doctorat, which is at the University of Lorraine, the school that helps international doctoral students to get back to to get through the French systems, helped me a lot during this time, and I am thankful for them. Yeah, so this was one of the challenges after coming to France. The second was language. I could understand French, which is written, but not really oral communication skills. But yeah, I think one has to work a lot to get through this and keep practicing if you really want to stay in France for a longer time. It's not super difficult, I would say. It's just a matter of practice. So I had already lived in Norway, and being a little bit introvert, I would say, it was easier for me to live in Norway, day to day life in Norway. But when I came in France, I saw that there was a complete difference. Like people would say hi and then just go, and as like a person who lived in Norway, I was expecting hi and something more, and I would stand there still, and it was kind of funny that I would wait for them to talk more, and then it was like oh hi and bonjour and go. Okay, so I slowly came into this social way, saying bonjour, ça va, and then walk away. So yeah, it was different, I would say. French are more social and as compared to Norwegians. So that was a cultural difference for me, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So as a sportsman, you develop a lot of qualities, and one of the major quality which I always apply as a even as a PhD student is that never give up. You keep trying, and it's not about not about becoming coming first, but it is more about excellence. Like you master the skill more than coming first, and that's what I had always been taught by my coach, that you get gold medal, it doesn't matter, but how did you run the race, what were you feeling when you ran the race. uh, it's like in a way a competition makes you better person, and competition should not be with other person but with yourself to become better each time. And this is something I think I would always apply to my life as a researcher. And yeah, so as you know, even in India I had traveled a lot, like as a sports person also, and as for my career, for my science career as well, from Bombay to Bangalore to Tamil Nadu, and all these had cultural differences in itself, but also from India to all the way to the poles in Norway, and then to France here. So travel, like I would say, travel more, learn more, and just keep an open mind to learn so many things out there. It's not just about science or sports or anything very specific. It's more about how you see your life as. And I think for me it's more like I just follow what feels right, and I think everybody should do that, and learn and inspire from others journey as well. तो मेरे कोच ने ये बताया था कि हम लोग कभी मेडल उनके पास लेके नहीं गए, मेडल या सर्टिफिकेट लेके नहीं गए, क्योंकि उनके हिसाब से गोल्ड तो बहुत आएगी। अगर तुम अच्छे कर रहे हो तो गोल्ड तो बहुत आएगी, कभी कभी लक से भी आएगी। बट क्या इम्पोर्टेंट है इस, जब तुम रेस भाग रहे हो तो कैसे भाग रहे हो, क्या मतलब क्या कर रहे हो, तभी तभी क्या फीलिंग है, वो हमेशा अपने लाइफ में वो एक मेमोरी रहेगी, द बेस्ट रेस आई एवर रैन, या what I was feeling. And I think for me there is one memorable race like that. And this is kind of a learning experience which I think it's a lesson for life.